So in this video, I'm going to explain why I feel that Joe Biden will beat Donald Trump in November. And I should preface this first by saying that I don't plan on voting for either of these candidates in November. If I do wind up voting in the 2024 presidential election, it will most likely be for a third-party candidate, though to be clear, none of them who have announced impress me much either. So there's a chance I won't even vote. And I don't really have a strong preference one way or another in terms of which one of these guys wins. I don't really buy into the hyperbole about how much of an existential threat Trump is or how much of an existential threat Biden is to the country. And I certainly have not been convinced by either of these two candidates or their respective parties that they'll actually have a positive impact on my life or the direction that the country is heading. So that being said, I do think Joe Biden will beat Donald Trump. The first major reason is just recent electoral trends. The Democrats have been outperforming polls, and they've been exceeding expectations in recent elections all over the country, including in red states and red districts. You know, for instance, in New York, congressional district that was previously held by a Republican, Democrat stepped in and he won that election recently. Ballot initiatives in places like Ohio and Kansas dealing with the abortion issue, the Democrats have been outperforming on those. So recent trends suggest that the Democrats have the advantage there. But that's not the only reason, and it's not the biggest reason, because I think if we've seen anything in this country, it's that trends can be reversed. The reason I think that the argument for Joe Biden is going to sway more voters than the argument for Donald Trump is because the argument for Donald Trump is fundamentally that the country is falling apart, the country is in a very bad place, and that one man and only one man can step in and actually save us from that. And that's a strong sell. You're basically saying to people, we need to disrupt what's going on and put our faith into this one guy, that he's going to step in. That's the MAGA mythology, is that everything is bad and Donald Trump is going to step in and he's going to fix it. Now, on the other hand, the Biden argument is basically everything's kind of okay. It's decent. Nobody really expects Joe Biden to do a whole lot to make anything better. Maybe he can make some things worse, but overall, it's kind of like the boring hold steady argument, not asking people to have disruption in their lives and just kind of like continue with things as usual, for better or for worse. And yeah, that's not an exciting argument. That's a boring argument, but it's also one in which you're not asking people to have like faith in experiencing a disruption in their lives, and then putting all their faith into one guy. And I just think that voters, when tasked with the choice of either disrupting their lives and having a major shakeup with faith being put into this one guy that he's going to fix everything versus, really, we get Biden again for 4 years? I mean, I just think that people are going to just kind of go with the boring. They're going to go with the stay the same argument rather than the let's shake things up, because that's what I don't think that the MAGA people really understand. People might overwhelmingly say that they think the country is headed in a wrong direction, and they might overwhelmingly think there needs to be major changes in society, but they don't have the same level of faith as the MAGA people do in this one guy. And in fact, a lot of people don't like that one guy very much. He's not popular outside of the MAGA bubble. So I just think in those terms, Joe Biden has the advantage. Now, things can change between now and the election. Maybe I'll change my mind, but as it stands, that is why I fundamentally think that it's probably going to go to Biden.